One time I was talking to this guy on Bumble and he wanted to go on a first date and he wanted to go on a hike. And I know that's like a new thing now that people want to go on a hike and don't want to get a drink, don't want to do that. I was like, okay, that's fine, but I don't want to go on a hike. I don't want to go in the middle of nowhere in the woods with someone that I don't know. I was like, well, how about a park or something? He's like, no, I want to go on a hike. And I was like, okay, you're going to go on a hike by yourself then. I'm not going into the woods with...
Alright, yo, I'm about to do story time because y'all know, like, I always get on here and I be talking about, like, people dating preferences, and that's, like, one of my biggest topics. So, story time, because I feel like sometimes when I be giving game, a lot of motherfuckers be offended, but I be speaking from experience.
Tell me about the worst date, and I mean absolute worst date you've been on. I'll go first. Grab your popcorn because this is one for the books. So I live in Michigan, and one of the popular things to do in the summer is go on the lake and party. This is all pre-COVID, by the way. So one day, me and my friends go on the lake and we're partying, and this group of boys in the boat next to us are so fine, and they come over to us and they invite us to go on their boat. So you know my ass.
I have been going out with a guy and it was going really well. We've been on 3 dates, and then he called me a delusional liar, so we're not going out with him again. Here's what's been going on. I've been going out with this guy for a few weeks. We've gone on like 3 dates. It's been going really well. My literal only concern was just, I was wondering if he was maybe not the most empathetic person. It was just a feeling I had. He'd made a couple comments. He was a little argumentative, and something about it was making me feel like he just wasn't an empathetic person, but also it's hard to know that.
What in the actual fuckly duckly? I was just thinking today about the last date that I went on. This guy, we went on a few dates. He picked me up from my house, but he was like, I have to go back to my house because I forgot my wallet. Fine, whatever. When we get to his, he's like, do you want to come in and see my puppy? Which I'm like, does a bear shit in the woods? Yes, I want to see your fucking cute puppy. I enter the house, and as he's closing the door behind me, he says, I hope you're ready to get murdered. Stark humor, I get that. I thought it was cute, but then it dawned on me. Shit. This is the exact scenario that has kept my mother awake for the past 31 years. And I'm doing it. I'm entering essentially a stranger's home on the promises of puppies. He could murder me, I don't know. We're fantasizing Ted Bundy now. My mother warned me about this. Teachers warned me about this. The policeman who came to my elementary school warned me about this. The little stay alert, stay safe bunnies on the commercials in the 90s warned me about this. What does my dumbass do? And then I realized I get in strangers' cars who I summon from the internet all the time. We call them Ubers.
Okay, so guy number one, in no particular order. I probably wouldn't have gone on this one if he didn't preface it the way that he did, but he did. So he's just like, I fly planes. If you get nothing else out of it, you know, you got a cool experience. And I'm like, that's true. So we proceed to not fly a plane. First, he takes me up this mountain to go hiking, but this mountain is known for like speeding up and down the mountain. People set records. It's like a lot of motorcycles up there. Problem is, we're riding in a station wagon that he souped up. And I'm not judging his car. I drive a Kia Soul. But the problem is, we're riding 100 miles an hour up a winding mountain in a station wagon that you put a turbo in with no guardrails. And that's not even the worst part of this date. Sadly, that may have been one of the better parts of it. 20 minutes into the drive, he offers me marijuana. And I'm just...
I need to say this out loud because I just can't believe that it actually happened. So I went on a date last week with a guy, and the date didn't go good. He was just giving hater number one, like, couldn't be happy for anything that I said or anything that I was doing, didn't give me, like, a single compliment or anything. There's so much more to it that I'll explain if somebody wants, because it's honestly really bad. But after the date, I just decided, like, he was so fucking rude, I don't really owe him to talk to him again. So I stopped talking to him, and that was 5 days ago. Then yesterday, he DM'd me a video on TikTok. He doesn't even follow me on TikTok or anything. And it was this guy talking about how all women are crazy and we act through emotions and we just can't think logically because we're such emotional beings. And when you sign up to be a boyfriend, that's what you're signing up for. You're not signing up to be a therapist or listen to your girlfriend's cries for help. And I was just like, I can't believe he sent that to me. Like, that's really weird, right?
One of my friends almost became homeless because a guy that she was dating kicked her out her own home. She was talking to someone from the UK. They were talking for a long time, and then he moved over to Dubai. She said, you can stay with me for a couple weeks until you find your apartment, so you need to look for your apartment. At first she was fine with it because she was like, he's going to pay the rent until he leaves. For the first 2 weeks he was paying for all the groceries, so she was like, oh okay, so he's got money, like at the end of the month he's definitely going to pay me. He told her, I'm waiting to get paid from my last job and they're going to pay me a substantial amount, around 4 grand, and then I'm going to be able to pay you back for your rent. She was like, okay cool, like don't sweat it, you're paying for all the groceries, like I know you got it like that. He His family even come to visit him, stay in a hotel, and he goes to stay in that hotel, then comes back to her house. He's now been in her house for a month, and she's like, okay, so where's the rent money? Come on. He's like, oh, I'm gonna give it to you, but they haven't transferred me yet. Like, the company back home haven't bank transferred me yet, so I'm waiting for the money. And she's not really bothered by it, but they're starting to have a lot of arguments in that house, and she's ready for him to leave. So he goes and stays with his friends because they're arguing so much that he doesn't even want to be there. He then tells her, I'm coming back, and when I come back, I'm going to pay you the money. He comes back empty-pocketed, of course. And what makes it worse is she told him, okay, ask your mum for the money or leave this house. And he said to her, it's your fault I'm broke. You're leaving me homeless in a country where I don't know anyone. Bear in mind, he has his friends here. Then she goes out and he basically threatens her and says, I'm not going to lock this door and I'm not going to let you back here. She somehow forgave him in the same day, and then she also drove him to go get his money because it's finally come through.
Hey men, are you guys okay? Because you're really acting wild lately. I had a bizarre experience with one of you recently. I went out on several dates with this guy, 3 dates, okay? Hours long. I really am a marathon dater. Okay, we talked several times in between these dates. We really knew quite a bit about each other. We knew about past relationships. We had a lot of shared common experiences. Things we were looking up for this little rat. Okay, I said, this is great. Then one night, I give him a call. Post 3 dates, give him a call. It goes to his voicemail for the first time since we've known each other. And a baby starts talking on his voicemail. I said, hello? The baby's like, cuckoo, caca, cuckoo. You know how babies are. And I was like, what's going on here? And then at the very end of the voicemail, he comes on and he goes, hey, this is so-and-so. That's my son telling you to leave me a message. I said, you're who? You're what? I called it again. Happened again. Cuckoo, caca. That's my son. I said, yeah, confirmed. Interesting. I didn't know this man had a kid. We've talked for hours. He's never once mentioned that he has a child. Bizarre. So then he calls me back before I really have time to calibrate what I'm going to say to him. He goes, hey, what's going on? I said, hey, do you have a kid? He goes, yeah. I said, okay. Well, were you going to tell me? And he goes, I kind of just thought it was common knowledge. What are you, the president? What are you, a celebrity? What are you, walking red carpets? I said, common knowledge? Why would that be common knowledge? It's so bizarre. You guys are so odd. You gotta help each other. I'm not ready to be a mother, okay? To you or your secret kids. Get it together, please.
Irrational and embarrassing things I did for male attention. I was dating none of these men, I just wanted to be dating them. I drove all the way to Vermont and back as someone who hates driving in January in the middle of a snowstorm just for a man. And the same token, I also took a bus to Boston for a boy I met one time. I used to Uber 40 minutes outside of the city that I went to college in to watch hockey games for a boy I liked, and I used to make him signs to cheer him on. I managed my high school baseball team because a boy that I liked was playing on the team, and then somehow ended up majoring in sports management because that just spiraled into a whole personality of mine. I also ended up managing the college baseball team, but that wasn't because of that reason, but then I ended up having a couple crushes on some of the guys, so maybe a little. One time I left my college formal in the middle of it, didn't tell anyone, just left. I went to this bar because I thought the guy that I liked was gonna show up at the bar. And I waited there by myself for about an hour. One time my friend was doing a photography project and she needed 2 people to be in her photo shoot, and I asked my friend to ask the guy that I liked to be in it so I could spend time with him. And we took a bunch of photos together and then never spoke again. This is the last one because it's so embarrassing I have to stop. One time I thought a guy was cute and my friend knew where he lived in the dorm, and I sat outside of his dorm casually hoping I would run into him, and then I did run into him. Not a single word came out of my body. I couldn't communicate with him. So I'm not a stalker, I promise. I'm just a really awkward 17-year-old freshman girl. Let me know if you want a part 2.
So this guy asked me on a date, and when I tell you he was hot, he was hot. Tall, blue eyes, brown hair, literally exactly my type. So of course I said yes. I was excited. So anyways, he was like, let's go see a movie. And I know what you're thinking, because I was thinking the same thing. A movie on the first date, how are we supposed to get to know each other? Plus that's kind of sketch, because we all know why boys want to go see movies with girls. But me being stupid, I was like, okay, sounds great. Plus, this guy was so cute, and he seemed like he was just my type. So I was honestly willing to do anything at this point. Fast forward, it's the day of the date, and I text him and I'm like, hey, are you picking me up or are we meeting there? Honestly, kind of hoping that he would pick me up because that's what, guys should do. And he responded and was like, no, you can just meet me there. So I got in my car and I drove half an hour to the movie theater that he wanted to go to because it was closer to his house. And again, me being stupid. So I drive to the movie theater and I get there at 11:15 a.m., which was so weird. Like, we saw it in the morning. So I got there at 11:15 a.m., which is right when we said we were going to meet each other. So I'm just kind of sitting in my car in the parking lot, like, waiting for him to show up because I didn't know what kind of car he drove. About 15 minutes pass and there's still, like, no sign of this kid. So I text him, call him, no response. At this point, the movie is about to start and I'm still just waiting in this parking lot all by myself. I definitely should have just left, but like I said, this guy was really hot and I wasn't about to miss out. Finally, I get a text and it says, I'm running late, be there in 5 minutes. 15 minutes later, he finally shows up and the movie has already started. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, he looked like crap. Like, he looked like he literally had just rolled out of bed. We go into the movie theater and he has me pay for my own ticket, which was kind of a red flag. And we go into the movie and it's a 3-hour movie about cars. And luckily it was already about 20 minutes into the movie, so I didn't have to sit there for the full 3 hours. And like, I was clearly pissed off at this point, but this boy started to try to make moves on me in the movie theater. I was so not having it. So finally the movie ended and he like tried to hug me goodbye and I just dodged the hug, got in my car and never spoke to him again. But funny thing, he still tries to hit me up to this day.
Have y'all seen the story about the lady who went on a date and they went out, had a nice time, whatever, left the date, she goes home, he goes home, she gets a call or a text or whatever from him later saying that his apartment, he like locked himself out of his apartment, he couldn't get a hold of his roommate, and he didn't have anyone else to call, so he was asking her if he could stay at her house. She's like, yeah, sure, whatever. So he comes to her house. She makes up a bed for him on the couch. Then she goes to bed, locks her door, very smart. And everything's quiet, everything's fine. And then about 3 a.m., he comes and knocks on her door. And it's like, hey, my phone died. I need a charger. And she's like, without opening the door, she's like, yeah, there's a charger in the living room on the counter, or in the kitchen on the counter, or whatever. So he like walks away for a bit, comes back, knocks on her door again, and he's like, hey, the charger's not charging my phone. Do you have one in there? I guess she gets uncomfortable, whatever, calls the police. The police get there, she hears like a ruckus or like fumbling around or whatever in the living room. Then the police knocks on her door and is like, hey, you're safe, we got him apprehended, but we need you to come out and see the condition of your apartment. She comes out. This man had her apartment covered in plastic and tools laid out. What? So here's my takeaway. First of all, if somebody brand new in your life, friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, somebody brand new doesn't have anyone else to reach out to except for you, or anyone else they can ask help from except for you, red flag number one. There were just so many red flags about this story. Like, seriously, I'm just in awe. Not blaming her, because you never know, but when she did start feeling a gut feeling, who knows if she felt it the whole time, but when she did start feeling it later on, she at least called the police, thank God, and she is safe. But man, that is just absolutely crazy.
I just got back from the worst date. Already there were some red flags, but when we first met, we hit it off, so I wanted to give it a shot. He was texting me things like, next Easter, we're gonna be doing this. Our second date, we should go here. We're on the phone today. He says, our firstborn is gonna be named this. I respond, sir, let's get through the first date. He turns it around on me, says, that's crazy you'd bring up baby names already. I didn't. I'm not crazy, saying how he's going to surprise me with where we're going for dinner tonight, but it's going to be a steakhouse. He says wear something black and tight. Never going to happen. I'm wearing something white and oversized because I've been through that. Not happening again. But I ask him if I should wear a dress. Is it fancy? He says if I want to. So I'm assuming it is. He says be ready for 6 and he'd call me an Uber. So I'm ready for 6, waiting on him to text me. No text. So I text him ? At 6:15. He reprimands me, says, "Tisk, tisk, can't believe it took you so long to tell me you were ready." So starting it off on like a weird note. I finally get in the Uber he calls, but it's some random address and I can't figure out where I'm going on Google. So I ask him what the name of the restaurant is so I can meet him there. He won't tell me where we're going. He's like, "Just get out on the corner, wait for me." So I get out and I'm waiting on this random street corner. I see him get out of his apartment building and walk across the street. And so obviously he chose somewhere super close to him, which is fine, but then don't be late and make me wait for you. We go into the restaurant. It's the Keg. It is the Keg. Don't get me wrong. I love their food, but don't like actually get some big surprise and gonna be so fancy. I'm so embarrassed. I'm in my fur. I am in heeled Alexander Wang boots. Like I'm so embarrassed. We sit down. He starts talking about himself and doesn't stop for 15 minutes. Doesn't ask me a single question about myself. So finally I say, "Do you want to know anything about me?" He says, "I'd rather make my own opinion of you, and I think I already have one." Proceeds to tell me who I am as a person, even though he knows nothing about me. He lists the qualities, tells me I'm super close with my parents. I'm not talking to them right now, sir. We are estranged. Tells me I'm shy and submissive. Are we on the same date? Because I'm not. I'm like talking over him every time he interrupts me because I'm like, it's just so rude. Our appetizers come. I'm in the middle of a sentence. He puts a bite of food in my mouth, so I have to stop talking so he can talk. Like, it happened 3 times. So rude. Then he says how women should be submissive and men should always have the final decision and that, you know, they're competent and women should just trust men. And
so I'm going to tell you about a date I had a few weeks ago, and trigger warning, it's a little scary. So essentially, I met this guy a few months back, but I was in a relationship back then, and really it was more of like a professional thing. So he kind of baited me and said, "Let's talk about, you know, this and that, like network a little bit over dinner." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I go, we have a nice dinner. He's nice. He seems to be like a nice, decent person and just like a fun guy to be around. So then when he invited me to go to like a comedy thing, like a private comedy show, I was like, "Amazing. I love stand up. Like, let's go." And it was a great time. He introduced me to a bunch of people. But then he was like, "Let's go to this house party that my friends are hosting." So I'm like, "Sure." We go, blah, blah, blah. And around this time, I decide that I want to stop drinking. So I get my little solo cup. I go to the sink. I'm filling up my water and I just start making nice casual conversation to this guy sitting like next to me. And he's in film, blah, blah, blah. So I'm asking him, it's interesting. And then like 5 minutes into this conversation, while I'm just like sipping on my water, the guy that I essentially came with, but like keep in mind, it was not really a date at all for me. Like it never started this way. He comes up and he's like, "What? Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Are you talking to my girl? Like, what are you doing talking to my girl?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, like what is happening? Like, let's just calm down." Like, oh, first of all, I'm thinking like, I'm not your girl. Like, what the fuck? But he's like, "What the fuck? You're talking to my girl?" And then just punches this guy in the face, like in front of me. Nobody saw. Nobody in the whole party saw. So it was just me and this guy in complete shock. We're sitting there in silence for 5 seconds. And then I'm like, "I gotta go. I'm leaving." So as I'm calling my car, I'm like getting my coat, getting everything. I'm just getting ready to leave. This guy is following me and berating me and saying, "You fucking disrespectful bitch, like blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, I brought you to this place and like you're talking to other guys. Like, what the fuck?" Like super, very machismo, very aggressive. I'm going outside waiting for my car. He's following me. I feel unsafe being out there with him alone. So I'm like coming in and coming out. But then eventually my car comes, and as I'm getting in the car, he's like, "Bye, bitch. Like, fuck you, bitch." And that was essentially that. So now I'm like really fucking scared to, like, this guy seemed totally normal and decent, whatever. And just like that, he switched. Like, he just switched in a second, and it was violent. So I don't know. It's definitely going to alter like how who I decide to spend my time with. And stay safe out there, girls. It's crazy.
So I'm going to share the story of my worst dating experience to date. I met this guy in Ibiza and he was a literal Ken doll. He was absolutely gorgeous. We got on so well and we just kept bumping into each other. So in the end, he asked my number. We started texting. Nothing went on in Ibiza, not even so much as a kiss. So he asked me to go on holiday with him and I couldn't get the dates off that he could get off. So he asked me to go up and see him in Wakefield where he lived, which is, I think, Leeds or near Leeds, something like that. And normally I wouldn't go that far for a guy that I didn't really know, but there was a boxing match that he was refereeing for and I just thought, oh, actually, sod it could be fun. I had him on both social medias and we were talking all the time, and then when I was on the train, literally he dropped a bombshell that he had twin girls and I was like, what? Okay, nothing might come of this if it's not the end of the world, but still, why would you have not mentioned that in like the month that we've been talking? So I was a bit taken back, but I thought, I'm already on the train now, there's nothing I can do. So I got to Leeds and Wakefield, and just before I got there I got a text from a woman telling me that she was involved with this guy and that she was the mother of his kids, and basically she could see on social media that we had been like flirting, and like, was I going up there to see him? She was full on stalking me. So I was obviously like thinking, what do I do? So I basically got in the car with him. He came and picked me up and I let him tell me first, like, whatever he wanted to tell me, and then I told him about the text and he was like, oh, you didn't reply, did you? And I was like, no, I haven't replied. And then he was like, yeah, she's crazy, if we bump into her she'll probably try and beat you up. I was like, what the fuck have I got myself in for? I was like, seriously, I was like, if you're still connected to her, then like, I can go home. My train ticket wasn't for another 2 days. And he was like, no, I don't want you to go. I don't want you to go. So we went to this boxing match and he left me with his friend pretty much the whole time. Then when I was at his, I saw a piece of paper with names and like £10, £5, £20 on. So, I mean, I got the gist of it. He was a drug dealer. Then when we were out in town, everyone was coming up to him asking him for drugs, and I was like, wow. And he had a gym and he used that to launder his money. We then went to this like club rave thing and I couldn't get hold of him. He wasn't answering the phone and he left me. Like, I don't know what he was expecting me to do. Like, part 2, because there is so much.
Story time of what it was like dealing with a guy who couldn't take no for an answer. Also, this is just a trigger warning. If you've ever been a victim of SA, please don't watch this video. Anyways, let's get into the tea. Anyways, this happened in my first year of university. I was living in a dorm. So me and my dorm mates one day were like, oh, it would be really fun if we like swiped on Tinder together. So of course I was chosen to make the account. And so the guys are swiping through this Tinder account that has like my photos on it, and they see someone that they know. And they swipe right on him, and of course it's a match, and he actually happens to live on the floor below us. So of course these immature men run downstairs and go up to the guy and be like, oh my god, she matched with you, she likes you. God, what am I doing? Anyways, I think they were like messaging him too and stuff. And so I go downstairs because I'm like, oh, I want to see this guy. Like, he's not that bad looking. Like, I wouldn't necessarily swipe right on him. So we go downstairs and it's literally like middle school. Like, both people on each of our floors are like screaming and being like, oh my god, yay. It's low-key pretty embarrassing, but like he seems really happy and I'm just like, ooh, maybe I should tell him like I wasn't the one that swiped and I'm not the one that was texting him. They're like all egging us on to give each other our numbers. So I'm like, you know what, whatever, I'll do it, and then I'll just privately text him after, hey, like, not interested. We talk for a little over text, but like I'm being so dry, guys. Like, I'm clearly being very dry. And then I drop the bomb and I'm like, hey, like you're really sweet and really nice and cute, but I didn't match with you. Like, I'm not interested. It was my friends that were messaging you and stuff. Like, I'm so sorry. And like, I didn't think much of that conversation after. I thought it went pretty well. And then came the weekend. Everyone's outside. Everyone's like partying and stuff. And I'm outside my dorm. And I'm just there like waiting for my Uber. And I see this guy come up to me. And he was pretty drunk. I've never interacted with him when he was drunk. He's basically just hitting on me, telling me like I'm so beautiful, whatever. I'm like, thanks, not interested.
And then I tell him I'm going to see someone else. Like, I'm not interested in him. I have someone that I'm seeing. His personality, literally like that, changes. He gets in my face and he's like, that's not fair. He's like, why won't you be with me? Why won't you kiss me? I like you. That's not fair. And I'm like, how does that have anything to do with what I'm supposed to do with you? Like, just because you like me does not obligate me to hook up with you. That's literally what I told him. And he's getting so angry. And honestly, I feel like I'd be more scared, but we were like out in public, even though he was like getting all in my face and stuff. I literally don't know why. So yeah, I'm scared, but I'm also like, bitch, what do you think you're gonna do? So I stand my ground, and then he starts cussing me off, like literally calling me a whore, being like, fuck you, whatever, and storms off. This was all very shocking to me because he was genuinely such a nice guy when he was sober. Like, couldn't even hurt a fly. Anyways, not even a month later, rumors start going around that he's getting kicked out of our dorm. Check out part 2.
This man didn't know my last name, didn't know what company I worked for. He was already, at this point, he was already blocked on everything. Somehow he found the company that I worked for, found my work email, and decided to send me a novel at midnight. And let me tell you how we got to this point. So we agreed on a place to go eat. Okay, cool. We get there. I'm dressed normal, whatever, it was nice weather. He shows up in a whole suit, which I thought it was extremely odd, but nonetheless. I thought he had made reservations. He did not, so there was a huge line for this place. So he's like, okay, let's go to this other place. We end up at this Mexican restaurant. We sit down. We're having a great conversation at first. Then he proceeds to tell me, we end up talking about, like our dating history and all that. And he tells me how on one of his dates, this girl got up and I guess they were having dessert. That's what he said. We were having dessert, and literally I turned to my right and she is gone. He's like, he just started bad mouthing her, and I'm thinking to myself, like, something's missing. Like, that doesn't add up, right? Like, no girl does that. Like, you have to give a girl a reason to just literally fucking run away. Little did I know. So I'm like, okay, whatever, we continue the conversation. I didn't dwell on that topic too much. But yeah, so he insists on telling me and making like racist jokes, talking about like Nazi this and like Jewish people this and like all this shit that he like did to other dates that he thought was funny, but they didn't take it as such. And at this point I'm already uncomfortable. So he's like, oh, it looks like you're taking it well. And at that point I'm like, oh God, like I hope he doesn't fucking kill me. So I'm just like literally just waiting for like us to finish eating. And then the date gets there. I'm like, okay, I have to walk back to my car. Thank you for everything. He's like, no, like, let me walk with you. He's like, I'm actually heading the same way because I had parked my car a few blocks away. And I'm like, okay. So we're walking together and he's like, hey, by the way, can you drop me off of my house? And I'm like, where do you live? And he goes, I live in the Gold Coast. And if you're not from Chicago, that's one of like the neighborhoods in downtown. So it's a really nice area. It's an expensive area. And in my brain, I'm like, there's no fucking way. I'm not going to get in the car. I'm not going to be in the same car as this man that I don't even fucking know. I already felt uncomfortable as it is. So we're walking and we see a movie theater. He's like, hey, he's like, I really have to use the restroom. He's like, should we just go into this theater? And I'm like, okay, great. So we get in there and I'm using the restroom. And I guess I didn't let him know or something. He proceeds to blow me up. I'm talking like 10 calls.
I thought I would just sit and do a little story time about one of the most dangerous things I've ever done in my entire life. So it was like near the end of last year and I was dating this guy for about maybe just over a month. We went on 2 dates and they went really, really well. And then for our 3rd date, he was like, I just want to go on holiday. Do you want to come with me? We can go away for a couple days. It was like winter and I was like craving a holiday, like just to be in the sun for a bit. And I thought, you know what, like our first 2 dates have gone really well. Like, why not? I was really in 2 minds about the decision because I was like, it's very soon to be going on holiday with someone. Then I was like, it's going really well, so I can't really see anything going wrong. A week later, we're in Morocco. I remember getting to his house the night before we were flying. I was in the bathroom and I was like, what am I doing? Once we were off the plane and in Morocco, I felt a lot better, like I felt a lot calmer and like, okay, everything's gonna be fine. We got to the hotel was literally stunning. But like the first night we had an argument and I was like calling my friends, like crying. I was like, I wanna come home. And they were like, look, it's only 3 days, like you've got 2 more days and it will be fine. The last final full day was the most traumatizing day of my life. So he wanted to go jet skiing and I can't swim very well. So I was kind of like, you go, I'll watch you. He was like, no, come with me. Like, I've done it before. I know what I'm doing. I promise you'll be safe. And I was like, look, I just don't want to be in the sea like that. And the guy who was like doing it was like, look, you'll have a life jacket on. Like, it'll be fine. We went to this place in Morocco where it's like surfer season because the waves are like absolutely massive. Anyway, I agreed to go on the jet ski because I'm literally insane. We were on this jet ski no more than a minute, I swear. We were like going out, obviously, and the waves were like huge. And I'm a small girl, and this, I swear to God, the biggest wave I've ever seen in my life. He went through the wave, and I swear we both flew off. The jet ski flew to the other side of the ocean, and we were both in the sea. We were like swirling around in this wave, and I was like, this is it. Like I'm done, like this is my life now, I'm done. We got back up and then another massive wave came and he was like, we have to go underwater. So we went underwater and the wave was swirling us like round and round and round. Guys who were doing the jet ski like weren't coming to get us and I was like, why is no one coming to get us? Like we're gonna die. And he was like, it's fine, I'll swim us back. I was like, babe, we are in the middle of the ocean, you cannot swim us back, like you can't. Anyway, bless him, he was trying to swim us back and then people on the jet skis came and like got us. And I was shaking so much. Got back to the sand and I literally just sat on the sand. I couldn't move. It was so scary. And like since then, I've been so grateful for life because I swear like literally it flashed before my eyes. Like I actually don't know what's more dangerous. Me going on holiday with pretty much a stranger or nearly dying on a jet ski. Like I feel like they're like same.
Never let a man come over to your house after a first date. And if you used to do that, you're not gonna do that after the story time. Let's go. I also forget to mention that it's a true story time. Yeah, let us begin. The story starts off with this young girl. She goes on a first date with this guy. They go out to get dinner. And honestly, he was a green flag all throughout. Like he was nice to the waitresses. He paid for the bill. Like no red flags at all. This is why no matter how normal or nice a guy seems to be, you can never trust them too quickly because the story's like this. The dinner goes great, he pays the bill, and then they just go about their day and they go to their own homes. So obviously this is a respectful man, right? Like he didn't even try to like get her to come over and didn't ask to go over to her house yet. So she goes home and then she gets a call from him and he's basically saying how he can't find his key, his roommate is not answering the phone, and if he could just come over for the time being until either his roommate answers the phone or he finds his key somehow. And she obviously said yes because once again, no red flags. He comes over, they're having a blast, they're just sitting on the couch, talking, vibing, and then it just gets really late, so she's like, hey, you can sleep on the couch until you figure things out, I'm gonna go to my room. And something told her to lock the door. Obviously, she lives alone, she doesn't normally lock the door, but something, an instinct. A woman's instinct is always right. So she ends up locking the door and then just going to sleep. A couple hours pass and then she gets a knock on her bedroom door and it's him asking for a phone charger because his died. Something told her once again, don't open the door, just tell him where it is. So she does not move and she says, it's on the kitchen counter, like help yourself. And he says thank you and then he goes about his business and then she just goes back to bed. Okay, this is where it gets a little for me. A couple minutes go by and then he comes back and knocks on the door and says, hey, like this charger's not working, like do you have a charger in your room that I can borrow? Something just like raises a flag in her head, like, hey, something's wrong, why does he want to get into my room so bad? So she calls the police. After she calls the police, she hears like the door kind of opening, she hears like a bunch of commotion outside. And then a couple minutes later, the police knock on her bedroom door and say, hey, like, you're safe, he's in custody, come outside and look at your living room. Guess what she saw? Please, just pause the video. I want you guys to guess first before you actually hear what it is. So she walks out from her bedroom to her living room with the police and she sees her whole living room fully plastered and she just sees a box of power tools. So drills, axes, you name it, it was in that power tool box. If she left her room and she didn't use her womanly instincts, you guys, women, we're never wrong. I said what I said and I meant it. If she did not just listen to her instincts, she would have been gone. I'm so scared for women. Like, we're not safe ever, and it's really sad. I really want to know how she felt in that moment. Like, just to be like, whoa, like, I just listened to my gut, and that's the main reason I'm still alive till this day. Like, if you're watching this, I am so proud of you. And I hope you know that. Moral of the story is a man can be so normal, have the perfect job, and just be a walking green flag and still not be the person that you think he is. So just don't let anyone into your home. Make sure that you guys run a background check first. Okay, I love you guys. Bye.
I almost got murdered today, and this is what happened. I matched with this guy on Bumble. We talk, like, exchange a few messages back and forth, and then we switched to WhatsApp. We decided to go on a date, so he planned one for today. When I asked him to send me what bar we're going to, he sent me a postcode, and he was like, meet here. So I googled the postcode, and I put on maps, and it was like flats. There was like a residential street, so I was like, what is this? I don't want to meet here, like, can we just meet at the bar? No, he was like, no, just meet me here, we can walk together. And I was like, can I just please meet you at the bar? And again, he was just like, just meet me here. Obviously, I was still going to go to the bar. He eventually told me the bar's name. And I am coming, well, I was supposed to be in the office today, so I would have been coming from wherever my office is. And he chose a place that's like an hour away by tube. And it's a Tuesday, so I didn't really want to do that. I was like, that's too far. I don't want to be back late and then end up having to take like a really expensive Uber back to my house. And he was like, it's not far at all. Like, just walk across the bridge and then you can tube to one stop, which it wasn't. It would still take me about an hour to get there. So I was like, no, can we just meet somewhere in the middle so that we can both travel? It's not just like, I don't know. It's because he lives in that area that he wanted to do that he chose the bar in. He was adamant on not changing the location. And he was just like, why are you making such a big deal out of it? It's not a big deal. The Uber's not expensive. He like looked up the price, and he was like, it's only £15, which it would not be, because from my house to like the bar by Uber would be like probably £30, especially late at night. There was a bit of back and forth, and then I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just reschedule for a different day, because this is obviously like not working, and now we're just like in a bit of a fight, so it's just weird and awkward, and maybe we shouldn't even go on a date. I didn't say that part, but anyways, he was like, well, I can't now because I've had to put my credit card down, and they're gonna charge me if I cancel the reservation because it's less than 24 hours. I went onto the website of the bar and I clicked reserve a table. You did not have to put your credit card down. I could easily you just have to fill out your name, and that's it. And something told me to reverse image search his pictures, and I used this website. It's called facecheck.id, and it basically is like reverse image search for social profiles and stuff. I put his picture in there, and it comes up with this like fitness gym model based in Germany. I live in London, so I was like, okay, and it had a completely different name. And all the pictures that were on his profile were taken from that person's profile. So at that point, I was like, okay, what the hell? So he wanted to meet me at this random postcode, not the bar. Random postcode, looked like a residential street. I'm assuming it was his place. He was adamant on not changing the location. He specifically wanted to meet there, and he would not meet me halfway. He lied about the credit card, putting it down. And then he's not even real. So I don't know what the intention was. I don't know what would have happened if I went. And it's supposed to be in a few hours. So I obviously have not done anything. I screenshotted the profile, the fitness model's Instagram, and I sent it to him. But now I'm really scared, actually. So I reported him on Bumble. I'm going to block him on WhatsApp before he even responds, because I don't know what would have happened, but everything is just like alarm bells. And there, I'm pretty sure that would have been the last day that I was seen alive. So yeah, that is how I almost got killed.
Put a finger down if you've been talking to a guy for a couple days and you've been on a couple dates with him, and this is your third date with him, and you decide to have a night in together. So you're having pizza, watching movies, drinking wine, snuggling, laughing, expressing your feelings towards each other. You then go to bed, and while you're laying in bed with him, you're laying on his chest and he's texting another girl, and this girl has heart emojis next to her name, and he's texting her right in front of you. So you, of course, ask, hey, who's that? He tells you that it is his friend's girlfriend. Confused why her name would have hearts next to it if it's a friend's girlfriend, but okay, I don't know your friendships, whatever. She's asking him to come pick her up. She is drunk at a bar, she can't drive, she's throwing up, and she's constantly FaceTiming him, constantly asking him to come pick her up. I ask him, why can't the boyfriend just go pick her up? Why is she contacting you? He tells you that her boyfriend is in Orlando. Okay. So he keeps telling you that he's not going to take her, and then you start to fall asleep, and he decides that he is going to take her. So, he starts getting ready. You can tell because you're in and out of sleep, but you hear water running, you hear clothes rustling. I just remember thinking, I'm like, what is taking this guy so long to just go get these girls? Just throw on a hoodie and go, right? Finally, he leaves. It was around 12:30, 12:45-ish. I fall asleep. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and there is nobody next to me. He never came home. So, of course, I'm freaking out. I'm scared. I'm thinking, like, oh my God, something bad's happened to him. You're looking up car crashes in the area. You're just standing in this random bedroom that you've never been in before alone. And you're like, what is going on? And then you remember, oh, he's with another bitch. So, of course, you grab all your stuff because what the hell? You grab all your stuff, you drive 30 minutes back home at 4 o'clock in the morning. And, of course, you text him and call him, and you're like, hey, where are you? And no answer, of course. And then at 6:30 in the morning, he decides to text you. What happened was he picked them up, brought them inside, had a beer, which if the girls were completely belligerent, why would you want to have a beer there if they're throwing up? Because that's what he was saying. They were throwing up everywhere, and he had to like pick the one girl up and take her inside. And I'm like, so why would you have a beer there anyway? After the beer, it was around 3-ish, and he went to go just shut his eyes in a gas station parking lot for about 15 minutes, and turned into 4 hours of a nap. He likes to call it a nap. Now, would that make sense? I mean, still no. But to make matters even worse, he works night shift. He's used to being up at night. And he lives 25 minutes away from downtown. Why do you need to take a nap in between that? Anyways, so of course, you don't believe any of that. So he left you in his bed alone to go sleep with another girl, even though he was already taken care of. But he needed more, I guess. Man needs more. I wasn't enough. That's fine. That's fine. So you call him out of his bullshit. You're like, I don't believe you at all. I'm never talking to you again. You're disgusting and literally fuck off. And so you're like, you know what? I'm going to try to find this girl. So this guy has 2 Instagrams because he's girly pop, and has a Finsta and a real Instagram. And he doesn't use his real Instagram, so he says, and his Finsta is what he follows you on. So you go look him up. He's blocked you already because, of course, I did something wrong here. He's blocked you already on his Finsta, and then you go to see his regular Instagram to see if you can find the girl. He deleted his entire Instagram. The entire real Instagram is gone. Does that scream guilty or what?
So I went on the worst first date of my life yesterday, and I have to speak about it. Just for context, this was not like a random Hinge date. This is a guy who had followed me on Instagram for over a year and had very much been the one pursuing a first date. We were meant to actually be going on a date this evening, but the guy doesn't live in London. He messaged me being like, oh, well, I'm actually going to be up for Taste of London. And I was like, oh my God, I've always wanted to go to Taste of London, but never been. He was like, you should definitely come. Why don't we swap out tomorrow for that instead? And I was like, wait, hold on, are you going with people? Like, I don't want to gate crash. And he was like, oh no, don't worry, I'm just going with a couple of people from work, but I'll be with them before you arrive. And when you arrive, you and I can go off and do our own thing. I turn up, first of all, literally cannot find this man. Like, arrive, there's no phone service anywhere. And bear in mind, we've never met in person before, so I know what he looks like in photos, but that doesn't always necessarily translate to recognizing someone in person. Anyway, finally find him in his group. He gets up to give me a hug. Everyone else just kind of looks at me and is like, hi. I got really bad vibes from the girls who were there, which I guess maybe they felt like I was crashing. I don't know, that's not how it was presented to me when I was invited. But then he's like, oh, everyone's finished their champagne, so why don't we go and get some more? And one of the girls he's with is like, can you get a nicer champagne than that one that we were just drinking? Which, already red flag. Anyway, we get the champagne for everyone, we go back, and then anyone who knows Taste of London, the whole point is going to go and experience the food, walk around, get a load of freebies, see all of the different brands there. When I tell you, this group was literally sat, not moving, the entire time. And do you know what? If it was really great vibes in the group, that would be a different thing. But it wasn't like at all. The vibes were really off. And also, the guide said that we would just go off, the two of us. We literally sat there the entire time with this big group of people. And then I was like, okay, well, I want to go around, see some of the food, etc. And he was like, yeah, cool, I'll come with. So we go up and get food. Now I wanted to go around all of the like freebie stalls. He clearly wasn't interested in anything free. Anyway, we went to like go and get a ramen thing which he wanted, and then I was in the mood for some pasta. So we went to the Italy store there and I got a cannelloni, and he wanted some like fried cheese thing. So I got that for him as well, and I paid. Now bear in mind, I also paid for my ticket to go to Taste of London in the first place. Not that I've got any issue with paying for it, but if I'm paying for it, I do also want to get my money's worth out of the event, which I definitely felt like I wasn't getting. Anyway, I took the fried cheese thing and he took the cannelloni. We go back to his group of friends, sit down, he puts the cannelloni in his friend's lap, his friend proceeds to eat the entire thing. Literally my dinner that I paid for. I'm sat there with a block of fried cheese on my lap, like I didn't even want this. Peppering in some other insights of the evening, one of the girls that he was with literally verbatim said, oh, I just wish there was an ability to pay someone else to go and get my food because I can't be arsed with the queues. Like, I would definitely pay someone else to do it for me. Like, sorry. Then time is moving on and I was like, do you know what, I'm having a shit time and I want to feel like I've actually been to Taste of London. So I was like, again, I think I'm gonna go up and like go around some of the food stalls, like try the freebies out. This man has been to Taste of London 3 times. Tell me why. We went up to one of the stalls and got a free thing. He was like, oh, I didn't realise you could get free food here. Like, that's literally the point of the event. I do not understand. Anywho, it's getting towards the end of the evening. We've been sat with his friends the entire time. He's like, oh, you know, what's your plan? And I was like, oh, well, like, it ends at 9:30, right? So I was like, I'll probably go home. It's a work night. And he starts ringing all of his friends being like, oh, lads, are you still out? You still out? Ringing his friends, basically completely ignoring me. Girl that he's with, like, gets on the phone and is like, oh, yeah, we'll get a black cab to you guys. We'll be there in 20 minutes. So then, event ends. No questions on where I'm going, whether I'd like to come and join the group. We're all walking. All of the, like, wardens there are like, this way to Baker Street, you've got to go to Baker Street. And they're like, oh, well, we're getting in a black cab, so can we sneak through here and get out? And the guy was like, yeah, nobody asked to see how I was getting home. They then walk straight out, hail a black cab, all of the girls get in, and he's like, just turns to me, and I was like, well, I'm getting the tube home. And he was like, all right, yeah, nice to meet you, gives me a hug, hops in the cab, doesn't ask how I'm getting home, doesn't say, let me know when you get in, nothing like that. So that was basically the worst date I've ever been on. Basically a group date with this guy and all of his friends as a first date. He also has since had the audacity to say, thanks for the evening. And then when I didn't respond to that message, because I didn't think it warranted a response, said, all okay, question mark? Question is, do I go back to him and let him know why I was really disappointed in the evening? Or do I just leave it?
I have never been on a date with so many red flags in my entire life, and feel free to judge me for this one because I'm judging myself hardcore because I shouldn't have gone in the first place. Anyway, there's this guy. He's been asking me out for like a year. I've known him for a couple years. He did some work on my house 2 years ago. I was selling my 4-wheeler last year, and he came and he was like, oh, where's so-and-so? Talking about my ex. And I'm like, oh, we broke up. And he's like, oh, you want to go out? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, aren't you engaged? And he's like, well, no, we're like breaking up. So I was like, no, dude, right? Whatever. So then 6 months go by and he asks me out again. He's like, oh, we broke up. I'm not with her anymore. I'm getting an apartment. And I was like, no, I don't want it. The fact that you would hit on me while you are like actively engaged, I'm not dating you. Well, fast forward to, I don't know, a few weeks ago. He's asking me out. He's continued to ask me out for this entire year. He asked me out again. I don't know. I was feeling sad, desperate, whatever the hell I was doing. Red flag. So I said yes. And so then he was like, okay, where do you want to go? And I'm like, I don't care, wherever you want to go. He's like, well, what time you want to go? I'm like, I don't care, whatever time you want to go. Well, what? And he like, what? I'm like, can you plan something? Here's my availability times. I have 0 dietary restrictions. Pick something, plan something. Days go by. He asks every single day, where are we going? So finally I was like, all right, let's go here at this time. So I have to plan it. Okay, whatever, not a big deal. So he's like, then he switches up. He's like, well, I might have to have my buddy drop me off or like borrow this car because my car's, that's fine. I drive a freaking National Grid vehicle, still has, and it beeps when you back up. I could give a shit what you drive. I don't care. But he's already like making excuses. Okay, whatever. Not a big deal. So day comes, I go to walk in. So I get there, I park out back. I see him in a car. As I walk up, he's on the phone. He's like screaming at someone on the phone. I was like, oh, Jesus, here we go. I stand there. It felt like fucking 10 minutes. It was probably like a minute. I feel like I stood there forever waiting for this man to get off the phone. And he's just like fighting with someone on the phone. I was like, oh, Jesus. So he gets off the phone. I'm like, everything okay? He's like, yeah, this bitch, blah, blah, blah. Red flag number 85. Don't talk. The minute that a man is like, oh, my exes are crazy, blah, 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 that's you, sir. Were they crazy before or crazy after? And why are you still arguing with whoever this woman is? If it's your ex, it's been a year. If it's another woman, why are you here with me? But again, I was like, all right, whatever. We're going to go have dinner. We get in there. It was probably the fastest dinner I've ever had my entire life. I think we were in and out of there within like 37 minutes. So we sit down. Our waiter walks up. Our waitress is, and he's training a girl. And the girl comes up and she's like, I'm sorry, I'm new. And he's like, yeah, I can tell. And I was like, oh, there is one, do not be rude to service industry people. I don't give a shit. They are helping you there. I have worked retail my entire fucking life. Do not be me, especially if she's new. So I look at her and I'm like, I'm sorry, you're doing great. Thank you so much. And he like rolls his eyes and I was like, do you want to fucking leave? Like, I was so irritated. So then the entire time we're sitting there, he's bashing his ex. He's bashing, oh, well, I went on this date a couple weeks ago, but I met her online and she was like 100 pounds heavier when I met her in person. And I was like, you're a bad person. What am I doing? This was me. I continue to lower I don't even know. So then I'm like, all right, we got to go. So we go to leave. He walks me so I offer to pay. And he was like, he grabbed the thing and I'm like, I can pay. And it's not a big deal. I have this thing, especially if it's a bad day. I do not want anything from you. I will pay every single fucking time because I don't want you to think I owe you something. Like, I will pay. He says no and he pays. I appreciate you. So then I'm trying to look because it was like $47 or something. And I'm trying to look at the tip and he gives like a 50. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go back after and give these people more than $2.17 or whatever you're. So then he walks me to my car and he goes to like hug me and I was like, bye, nice seeing you, whatever. And he was like, can I have a kiss? And I was like, no. And he's like, oh, prude. Yep. Sure fucking am. Sure am, sir. No, I just don't fucking like you. You are the epitome of a terrible person. So then he goes and he like walks away, gets in his car. I'm parked out back. By the time I drive, like I'm in my car driving, I'm still not even out of the parking lot. And he texts me, I'm assuming there's not going to be another date. And I just left him on red. No, there's not going to be another day. I'm glad you got that though. Like, I'm glad you picked up on that. I shouldn't have said yes in the first place, but I don't know what to do anymore.
Je gaat je oren niet kunnen geloven na dit wrede, gekke dating story. Dit heeft een oud collega aan mij eerder verteld. Toen zij dat vertelde, zat ik echt met open mond naar haar verhaal te luisteren van dit kan toch niet waar zijn? Maar dit is iets wat een vriendin van haar is overkomen. Dus hou je vast, hier komt hij dan. Jade zit al jaren op Tinder te zoeken naar iemand waarmee ze haar leven kan delen. En op een dag swipet ze right naar de juiste persoon. Ze hebben een date en de eerste date verloopt vlekkeloos. Ze hebben echt een goede klik. Ze kunnen uren met elkaar praten. Nou, na de eerste date willen ze nog een keer meeten natuurlijk. En spreken ze nog een keer af. Nadat ze de dag hebben doorgebracht, alles heel erg leuk verlopen is, wil de jongen natuurlijk weer een derde date. En besluit Jade uit te nodigen bij hem thuis. Mind you, ze kennen elkaar nog niet zo heel goed. Ze hebben alleen maar dus 2 dates gehad. De derde date is dus bij hem thuis. Ze hebben dagelijks wel contact via telefoon, ze bellen, appen. Jade die kent hem verder niet, maar ze denkt oké, ja, waarom niet? We kunnen best bij jou thuis afspreken. Dit is in de periode waarin Netflix en chill nog net nieuw is, op de markt wordt gezet als gezellig, lekker chillings. Dus Jade vindt hem een leuke jongen en denkt waarom niet? Wat kan er fout gaan? En gaat naar zijn huis. Eenmaal bij zijn huis komt Jade naar binnen en hij heeft wat lekkers neergezet op tafel. Woonkamer ziet ze ook voor het eerst natuurlijk. Ze kijkt een beetje rond. De jongen geeft aan dat er verder niemand thuis is. Hij woont op zichzelf. Dus Jade kan zich lekker op haar gemak voelen en laat een beetje het huis zo rondzien. En vervolgens gaan ze dus lekker op de bank zitten en hij pakt wat te drinken voor hun beiden. De twee die zetten dus even een film aan. De jongen begint wat aan Jade te zitten, een beetje te knuffelen, een beetje gezellig te doen, laten we het zo zeggen. Maar Jade krijgt hier en daar een beetje de ik. Ze kan niet echt plaatsen, maar de manier waarop hij naar haar kijkt, de manier waarop hij aan haar zit, iets geeft haar de ik. Hoe leuk ze de jongen ook vindt, er klopt iets niet. Haar onderbuikgevoel, kunnen we het ook wel noemen, geeft aan dat er iets meer speelt. En Jade die vraagt heel even of ze de film op pauze kunnen zetten, want ze moet heel even naar de wc. Dus ze vraagt, waar is de wc? Nou, hij geeft dus aan dat de wc en de badkamer één plek is. En dat is dus daar. Nou, Jade maakt dat ze meteen daar naar binnen gaat, doet de deur op slot en pakt meteen haar mobiel erbij. Jade belt de politie. Ze geeft aan welke locatie ze zit en intussen hoort ze allemaal geluiden in de woonkamer. Waarschijnlijk is de jongen dingen aan het verplaatsen of zo, denkt ze, want ze hoort allemaal, je moet je voorstellen, verpakkingen, geluiden, of hij is iets aan het klaarmaken. Er gebeurt in ieder geval iets in die woonkamer. De jongen klopt een paar keer aan de deur en zegt, hey, gaat alles wel goed? Het duurt nu best wel lang, want Jade die wil dat de politie gewoon naar binnen komt meteen, want ze zegt, ik voelde dat er iets niet klopte. Jade die is gefocust op het telefoongesprek met de politie en geeft aan dat ze zich niet veilig voelt in de situatie waarin ze zich nu bevindt. Ze is bij iemand thuis die ze net kent, maar iets klopt er niet. Ze geeft alle signs aan en vraagt de politie om naar de locatie te komen. Op een gegeven moment hoort ze dus inderdaad dat op de deur keihard wordt geklopt. Politie wordt gezegd. Ze hoort de jongen antwoord geven op alle vragen wat de politie dus aan hem stelt. Op een gegeven moment zegt Jade, ik wist niet meer zo goed wat er allemaal gebeurde, maar de politie stormt dus naar binnen. Even later, na best wel geruis, geluiden enzovoort, hoort ze dus de politie aan de deur kloppen van, we gaan binnenkomen, maar we gaan een zak over je hoofd doen en ga jou zo op een veilige manier naar buiten brengen. Jade die dacht echt van, what the actual freak, want oké, ze had wel verwacht dat er iets zou zijn, maar waarom een zak over haar hoofd? Wat blijkt nou? Mr. Right wou een einde maken aan Jade haar leven. Hij had in die tussentijd dat Jade in de wc zat, allemaal dingen klaargelegd om haar te doen. Denk aan een drillboor, zaag, alles lag op tafel neergezet. En de politie wou niet dat Jade dat zag. En heeft haar dus daarom met een zak over haar hoofd mee naar buiten genomen op een veilige manier. Besef hè, als Jade uit de wc was gekomen zonder dat ze de politie had ingeschakeld en haar zesde zintuig had genegeerd, was Jade vandaag de dag er niet. En hadden we deze verhaal ook wel kunnen vertellen hoor, maar misschien niet op deze manier. Toen mijn vriendin dit vertelde, stond ik echt zo van, are you freaking kidding me? Ik zei, gewoon, hoe kan zoiets gebeuren? I mean, ten eerste Jade, wat bezielt jou om zomaar naar een wildvreemde persoon zijn huis te gaan? Maar gaan we niemand meer kunnen vertrouwen op deze manier? My god! Besef hè, wat voor goede engelen Jade op haar schouders had op die dag. Wat voor een goede instinct zij op dat moment had. En hoe erg zij geschrokken moet zijn van dit hele gebeuren. Vriendinnen lopen gekke buiten rond en om ons heen rond. En ze hoeven er niet als monsters uit te zien om dit soort dingen van hun te kunnen verwachten. Dus alsjeblieft, stay safe en vertrouw niet zo snel iedereen om je heen. Zo zie je maar weer dat we echt op onze instinct moeten vertrouwen. Onze zesde zintuig hebben we niet voor niets gekregen. Het zegt echt wat tegen ons om ons te kunnen beschermen. In de zoveelste verhaal hebben we het weer over de zesde zintuig van een vrouw. Ik krijg hier echt gekke kippenvel van. En besef als Jade niet hiernaar had geluisterd hoe het dan met haar was afgelopen. Dus vriendin, be careful. Ga niet naar iemand zijn huis die je nog net leert kennen. Alsjeblieft, stay safe. En mocht je dit soort verhalen meer willen horen, geef je girl een follow en een like. En dan zie ik je in de volgende video weer. Dankjewel voor het kijken. Mwah!
Tell the truth, I look better under you. I can't lose when I'm with you.
This claims to reduce fine lines, relieve puffiness, and brighten dark circles. Disclaimer, results may vary depending on skin type.
I've realized you just can't trust anyone on the dating apps. I don't usually come on here and talk about dating life or the dating apps or anything like that, but I feel like I need to tell everyone about this story. It's the most bizarre thing to me, and I kind of want to see if it's happened to anyone else. Basically, long story short, I had been communicating with this guy on Hinge for about a week or so. We went from Hinge to like communicating via text. I really honestly didn't think that I needed to have him on social media only because we were communicating consistently through text message, and having me on Instagram or like Facebook or whatever really wasn't going to change much. But basically we were talking through text, we organised a date, and he even confirmed the location, confirmed the time, and he suggested the location. So I'd never actually been to this place before. When it got to the day of, everything was fine. We were communicating like normal. And he did say to me that we would meet at 7:30, but in the afternoon, he was like, I have to leave work late, so I probably won't get there till before 8. Totally fine, didn't have a problem with that. When it was like later in the afternoon and I was like kind of getting ready to go, he did make a comment saying that he had to go to work like the next day, which I then was like, oh, like is he implying subtly that he like doesn't really want to go out? By the way, this was on a Friday, so he had work on the Saturday. At like last minute, he said that he had to work. So I just said, like, are you still cool to do tonight? Like, if not, totally fine. And he literally replied with, yes, of course. I'll be there. Anyways, I was talking to my friend. I said, I feel like I'm going to be ghosted. And she's like, no, don't. You're thinking negatively because you're just nervous. And I was like, you know what? True. Anyways, he messages me and says, look, I'm going to be there right before 8. I'm like, okay, sweet. It's 20 minutes for him to get there and it's 20 minutes for me. So we're literally meeting in the middle. So also, I've never been to this place before. And he told me that the venue was limited in their car spots. So he suggested that I park at the McDonald's across the street. I just confirmed with him that he was parking there and he said yes, blah, 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 blah. So I get there a little bit before 8 and I message him and I said, hey, I'm here, let me know when you're here and I'll walk across. It took him a good few minutes to reply, but he said the weirdest comment. In my opinion, I thought it was weird. He replied and he said, I'm here, if you like, walk across. I just don't understand the if you like, because I was clearly there because I wanted to be there, but it just didn't make sense. It was a bit weird. So I literally walked across and I was in the entrance and I said, okay, where are you? He replied pretty much straight away and said, I had to park out the back. There was no car spots at Macca's. But I'm telling you, there was like 10 plus car parks at Macca's. Like I was parked there, I think I would know. But I kind of just left it and was just like, whatever. And then I replied and I said, okay, well, I'm at the entrance. Then 10 minutes went by and I'm literally waiting there. This guy said he was at the back. So I was like, how long does it take for you to get from the back car park to the front? And I call my friend and I said, this is weird. Like, I don't know what's happening. And she's like, call him. I felt really weird. I didn't want to look like I was clingy or over the top. So I just messaged him and I said, am I at the wrong spot? And my iMessage would not deliver. And that was when I just literally knew. I'm like, this guy's blocked me. And I looked on Hinge because, you know how sometimes it has like the location? I thought maybe he's updated it. No, he's unmatched me on Hinge. So I tried calling him and it just went straight to voicemail. So that really just confirmed everything. He's blocked me and he's ghosted me. My friend tried calling him and he would let the calls go through and her messages deliver. So I'm really not sure why he didn't block her, because she was like low-key abusing him, being like, why did you stand up my friend? But he blocked me with no explanation. I think what I'm most confused about is A, if he was even there, or B, whether he wasn't there and he just was planning on ghosting me the whole time. I don't understand why he made me walk into the venue. Why couldn't he have ghosted me or blocked me before I left? Also, I didn't think about this until when I got home, but I don't know whether he was there watching me and watched me walk inside. I still feel so uncomfortable about the whole situation, but I just want to know whether people actually have had that happen to them. Whether you've organised a date with someone and they've just bailed on you, but like have made you go to the venue and they just stand you up. I've been on the apps for a little while now and I've never experienced anything like this before. And to be honest, it's really turned me off because I feel like you just can't trust anyone. And I'm telling you, I didn't get any sort of inkling that this guy was like this. I thought he was really nice. We got along really well. And honestly, maybe he still is a really nice person. I just can't understand why anyone would do this to someone. It's way more hurtful having someone stand you up like that at the venue of where your date's meant to be than just telling you that you're not interested. Like, I'm 27 and I feel like I'm adult enough or mature enough to be like to someone, hey, I'm actually just not interested and I think like it's just not going to go anywhere. So I'm not really sure why males of the same age can't do the same thing. Also, I will say, I know it's not every single male, but this really has turned my experience on Hinge to a complete negative. Also, my friend is still not blocked. I'm still blocked. I don't even know what I did wrong. If you just didn't vibe me, just tell me. But if you are this individual and you know who you are and you're watching this, honestly, you should be ashamed and embarrassed because there's no way to treat someone after standing me up on the date that you organised. Anyways, I just wanted to see if anyone else has experienced the same thing and whether we should collectively all get off Hinge.